Right now on the National Weather Desk, picking up the pieces from Hurricane Ian. A look at the situation right now in Florida and how the impact from that storm had on other regions. How to rebuild after a hurricane and what are the most important things to do to protect your home, we'll discuss. And have you ever noticed that the sky looks more blue in the fall? There's a reason for that, and we're going to break it down. Plus, we're heading to Texas to take a look at one of the largest bat caves in the country.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Veronica Johnson. We start every morning with the day's big weather stories, and unfortunately today that's the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. Here's the latest headlines this Monday morning. At least 68 deaths are blamed for the storm, but the number is expected to go higher. Hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses in Florida are still without power. The flooding risk isn't over. All of that rain that fell has nowhere to go. The remnants of the storm now dumping rain on the Mid-Atlantic region this morning. U.S. officials are promising a massive amount of federal aid to help the communities devastated by Ian. And people across the region are returning to their homes hoping to find it's still standing. Now, answering.
We don't know our future because we don't know, can we rebuild?
Answering that question is a daunting task, and it's clear rebuilding could take years. Cleanup alone will take months or more. People living in the islands like Sanibel are still cut off from the mainland. The governor's office says 1,600 people have been rescued since last week, and those efforts will continue. Well, Ian struck South Carolina as Category 1 hurricane Friday afternoon, and while the damage pales in comparison to Florida, thousands of homes and businesses were flooded. At least 5 piers near Myrtle Beach were damaged, but folks in South Carolina know it could have been much worse. Now, powerful hurricanes will continue to threaten and strike our nation. Thankfully, there are people working to protect people in homes in high-risk areas. I spoke with William Stout of Rebuilding Together to find out what they are doing to help communities and people protect their homes during major weather events.
Yeah, so I mean, we do everything from creating a wheelchair ramp or something basic like installing grab bars all the way to building a home to a fortified standard. So replacing the entire building envelope, impact resistant windows and doors, fortified roofs that mean, all unlimited wind ratings on some of the products that we're installing, like our GAF roofs, and those types of things not just give the homeowners a fighting chance and a response, but really something that gives you peace of mind, which is a huge element of the work that we're doing, is giving people that, hey, the next time a storm happens or the next time it rains, is it going to leak in my home?
What have you seen the greatest need for, say, the last 5 years versus, 20 years back?
We unfortunately are a response organization in that we're constantly responding to different storms, and we have definitely seen an increase in intensity. The storms come more quickly. They drop more rain. Even on just regular summer days, we're starting to see the impacts of climate change and just street flooding on a regular basis in New Orleans. One of the things that we organizationally are focused on are making our neighbors more resilient. So, we know that most of the damage that is caused by storms is actually preventable by replacing a good roof. 80% of the damage that we see comes from a roof peeling off. And so if we can replace a roof, we can prevent a lot of this damage. And, those homeowners don't end up on our waiting list the next time around.
In just a few weeks away, winter. Have you ever heard of winter weather folklore? People have many different theories on how to guess the number of snowy days there will be in the winter ahead. A common thought is, the fog. Looking at how foggy it is across the region. Does it sound strange? Let's turn to meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael in Columbus, Ohio, to make sense of it all.
I've been asked by some of you, how many foggy days do we have in the month of August? And the reason some people ask is because there's weather folklore that says the number of foggy days in August equals the number of snowy days in winter, where you get a half an inch of snow or more. This year, 14 foggy days in August, but it's not great weather folklore. Take a look at the last 5 years. There's only been 1 year out of the last 5 that actually lined up or even really came close. That was 2019, 2020. You can see about 5 years ago, we had a lot more snowy days. Then 4 years ago, we had a lot more foggy days. In the last couple of years, it kind of traded off again. More snow, then more fog last year. A lot more foggy days than snow last year. So we'll have to see how this year pans out. I looked at the average. It's 15 foggy days, 15 snowy days if you average all of them out, since we've been keeping good records of this. So it's a coincidence if they line up, but as you see there, in the last 5 years, only one's lined up. The best way of seeing what winter will be like for us in Central Ohio is where the jet stream sets up for the 1st of December. Now this year, we have a weakening La Nina, which means typically a wetter winter in Central Ohio and the Great Lakes region. Now, it also means it's typically a little milder, but if you time out the wet weather when it's colder, that's going to mean more snow. But if it's milder, it's going to mean more ice or rain. So we got to see where the jet stream sets up as we head into the 1st of December, because it typically stays there through a lot of the winter. But if you like the weather folklore, 14 foggy days in August potentially could mean 14 snowy days this winter.
Okay, well, do you ever feel like the sky looks bluer on a crisp fall day? Well, it is. That's right, the sky in the fall appears bluer than other times of the year. To explain why, let's turn to meteorologist Tara Blake in Cincinnati.
I took this shot just outside of my neighborhood of the bright, brilliant blue. Fair weather skies, I mean, it just looks so crisp. So, why are autumn skies so blue? There's 3 major reasons. First, lower humidity. Moisture decreases in the fall, so bye-bye haze, hello crisp blue. The biggest one is lower sun position. More of the sky is angled away from the sun, so that means more blue light towards your eye. You are truly seeing more blue. And the fall foliage, those changing colors, the reds, the yellows, the oranges, well, our primary colors appear more brilliant when in contrast on the color wheel. Pretty cool, right? Have you noticed?
Yep. Well, the end of summer means it's time to harvest sunflower seeds in Michigan. Listen, it's no easy task getting those seeds from the sunflowers to the consumer. Meteorologist Heather Bricka is near Traverse City, Michigan, to show us the process.
These sunflower seeds go through quite the process from the time they are planted until they're harvested. I visit one farm where the seeds are going through the harvesting stage right now.
In the fall, like this time of year, to start combining them, and then we take them back to the elevator and they run through a cleaner first, and then they go into our dryer bin.
After they dry the seeds, they go into storage, and in wintertime, they are bagged up into 50-pound bags for bird feed. On the 350 acres of farmland, the sunflowers need a lot of water to grow.
We just rely on Mother Nature, you know, we don't have any irrigation.
It was an abnormally dry summer in northern Michigan. In June alone, more than 20 counties were considered abnormally dry on the drought monitor map.
It kind of hurt it because somehow the weeds, they can always grow when it's dry, basically.
The moisture helps with controlling the weeds, but this year it was a challenge.
This year they were hurting for moisture early on, and then the weeds had a chance to get going.
Last summer there was a lot of wind damage after storms came through, which the farm lost more than half of their crop.
At least it wasn't like last year, of course, and they all blew down in a freak windstorm, but this year, all in all, it hasn't been too bad, or at least we'll get something anyway. So
Sen says it takes anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to harvest all of these sunflower seeds, dependent on the weather.
Now back to Ian for a moment. Ian's impact is being felt far from Florida and the Carolinas. Check out the scene on Lake Erie in northwest Pennsylvania here. That's not typical for the lake in October, but the remnants of Ian stirred up those big waves, and surfers couldn't resist getting out there. Temperatures were only in the upper 50s. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, did you know that there are ways that you can help your local meteorologist? Coming up, we'll explain how. And we'll take you to Texas to one of the world's largest bat caves. Time for a daily test of your weather wit and the twist from hurricanes to tornadoes. How many categories of tornadoes are there? The answer after the break.
A very good day to you. Meteorologist Brian Ivy here across the Northeast. We're looking at upper 50s to lower 60s, and we're not done with Ian yet. Showers wrapping back around Atlantic City, the New York City area into Pennsylvania. This system retrogrades back westward. High pressure and control across New Hampshire, Vermont, portions of Maine. But then you see this system provide some rainfall all over. But the biggest effects towards New York City. Decent amount of rain.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. The remnants or kind of almost ghost of Ian combining with a nor'easter system, providing a not so nice Monday for us. On and off rain and wind, even some coastal flooding still going on through the day on Monday. Definitely not very pretty for commuting either for the I-95 corridor. There's our latest weather maker, that kind of nor'easter Ian system. And again, nasty all the way through at least early to midweek. That's seen here.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your forecast for the southeast. High pressure remains in place across the southeast, leading to mostly sunny conditions. A few clouds in the Carolinas, an isolated shower chance heading into Tuesday for parts of the east coast of Florida. Temperature-wise, cooler across the Carolinas in the middle 60s. Into the 80s for parts of the Gulf Coast, 84 in Little Rock, 81 in New Orleans, 82 in Pensacola, 83 in Tampa, and 87 in West Palm Beach.
So let's see how your weather wit is doing. Before the break, I asked you how many categories of tornadoes are there? Did you get it? The answer, 6. The enhanced Fujita scale has 6 categories from EF0 to EF5. EF5, those winds over 200 miles an hour. Now let's check to see the weather in cities across the country today. We start in Myrtle Beach, close to where Ian made landfall on Friday. It's going to be another cloudy day, but no rain expected. Afternoon temperature, 66 chilly degrees. In Albany, New York, along the Hudson River here, Albany is looking at partly cloudy skies today with a high of 62. And, hey, do you recognize this building? This is Lambeau Field in Green Bay, where the Packers beat New England in overtime yesterday. A magnificent day today, sunshine and a high temperature of 70 degrees. And finally, Port Arthur, Texas, on the Gulf Coast. Summer is still sticking around here down in South Texas. Partly cloudy today, just shy of 90 degrees. A little bit of heat down in the south and southwest. Now to a segment that we call Social Meteorology. 3 members from our team of 200 meteorologists nationwide are using their social media platforms to help us better understand different weather events and phenomena. We begin in Eugene, Oregon with meteorologist Josh Cozart explaining how rays from the sun can form.
Crepuscular rays. Let me explain. Clouds and mountains cast their own shadows. The contrast between the light and the dark helps create what we see as rays. You might know them just as rays, but us meteorologists, we like to name stuff like this.
Do you know somebody who loves weather? Maybe it's you, maybe it's a kid that you know, maybe it's a family member. Well, there are a few ways to actually get involved in weather that doesn't actually require being a meteorologist. And the information that you could actually provide us through these programs are vital. Here are 3 top ways to get involved with weather. Buy a weather station. You can monitor conditions yourself from home. Number 2, join the National Weather Service Skywarn program. It requires 2-hour training with a National Weather Service meteorologist. They help you to identify and describe severe local storms, thunderstorms, tornadoes, floods, all of that, so you can report it during the time of those events. It's on all 50 states. Number 3, join the Coco Roz community. You report how much snow or rain you get, and you don't even have to be 18.
Why do leaves change color during the fall? You may already know that chlorophyll is what makes leaves green. So as summer changes to fall, the days are getting shorter, we're getting a lower sun angle, and that means the leaves are producing less chlorophyll. And as the chlorophyll continues to decrease, the sugars in the leaves create beautiful colors like these just in time for fall.
Go to our social media channels for posts just like those. Search at NatWXDesk on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And have you ever looked at the sky and noticed a little halo around the sun and wondered what that circle around the sun was? A viewer asked that very question. Meteorologist Todd Jacobian in Little Rock, Arkansas, here with the answer.
Well, it happens a lot. We get pictures of it, the halo that you see around the sun and the moon, and so many pictures and people asking what causes that. By the way, thanks for sending in your pictures to chime in. This one from Mark Grady here in Bauxite. You can see that halo around the sun. And here's another one in Conway from Mary Goodwin in Conway. So what causes this? Well, the sun is reflecting and refracting ice crystals, the light through the ice crystals that are suspended within those thin layer of clouds about 20,000 feet above our heads. Those are the cirrus clouds. And so as the sunlight hits that, it refracts in a radius around the sun of about 22 degrees. So you have to have that thin layer of cirrus clouds, those ice crystals, and there are millions and millions upon ice crystals that are doing this, refracting that sunlight.
Well, we like to highlight places around our nation that are not only beautiful, but also entertaining and informative. And one of our meteorologists found a spot that is just that, but it's also educational and a little spooky. Perfect for this time of the year. Let's head over to Texas now and take a look at a place that we think you might want to check out.
I'm meteorologist Chicago Wendler in Mason County, Texas. If you're up for an adventure, this is one of the best ways to experience one of the largest bat colonies in the U.S. A journey 2.5 hours from Austin goes from a narrow paved road.
Paved road ends. It's okay. Keep driving.
To a bumpy dirt road.
Every time you think you're lost, there's a little sign that says back cave this way. Just keep driving.
Then you reach the James River.
You've probably all heard, turn around, don't drown. Please keep that in mind. This time of year, the river is a few inches deep. It is not flowing very strongly, and there's solid limestone bedrock the whole way across the river. So you can ford this river in almost any kind of vehicle this time of year.
The payoff?
So that we get to watch one of nature's wonders, watching millions of bats flying out of a hole in the ground.
The Eckert James River Bat Cave Preserve is home to 2 to 4 million Mexican free-tailed bats.
They're so close. The cave is 150 feet deep, 115 feet wide, and they all have to come out a 15-foot opening, so there's a huge traffic jam. With a good tailwind, a Mexican free-tailed bat can fly up to 60 miles an hour, and they can make a round trip of 100 miles in one night to make sure that they get enough food.
So what we're seeing is what some people call a bat tornado. Obviously, it has nothing to do with real tornadoes, but you can actually detect the movements and migrations of bats on weather radar.
Bats will be sometimes flying within a few inches of you. Sometimes when the young pups start flying, they're a little clumsy when they first come out, and they'll fall down, and you might have bats crawling down around you. You don't want to pick them up.
And while the biggest bat populations are in central Texas, you can find viewing spots across the country, from Yolo Basin in California to Hartman Mine in Pennsylvania.
Love it. Throughout the fall, we're going to be updating the progress of fall colors, and we're going to start here with a photo that we received over the weekend. It comes from New York's Catskill Mountains. It's just a gorgeous shot here. Look at the colors. They're really starting to come alive. Good news for leaf peepers. New York reports leaves are starting to change now, so there is plenty of time to catch peak color. And we love to show off America's beauty, and sometimes the best way to do that is to soar. This morning, our journey starts in Fresno, California. Now let's take a look back on this day in weather history. On October 3rd, 1964, Hurricane Hilda hit Louisiana, spawning many tornadoes and claiming the lives of 22 people. The wind so powerful, it blew a 40,000-gallon tank down, killing 8 and injuring 6. We'll be right back.
Well, a very good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Taking a look at your weather across the Midwest as we go through the next few days here. Got some clouds and spotty rain out across the plains, but out across the Ohio Valley and a lot of the Great Lakes, we're looking at a decent amount of sunshine over the next several days. So for the day today, a lot of us topping out in the 60s, 70s, and 80s today. Moving into tomorrow, that rain continues moving its way in more with sunshine still across the Ohio Valley and mild for Wednesday.
Happy Monday. I'm meteorologist Jody Carlo with a look at your forecast across the region. Well, feeling like fall this morning. Low 50s up in Oklahoma to Arkansas. A little bit warmer down to the south. Seeing those clouds as we start your morning in San Antonio down towards Corpus Christi. We'll stay partly to mostly cloudy across South Texas today. Highs in the mid-80s. We'll be in the upper 70s, low 80s further to the north with a lot of sunshine. Pretty nice Monday on tap. We'll drop mainly to the 50s and low 60s overnight.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening in the west, where temperatures are the highest above normal. That's in the Pacific Northwest. We're soaring into the 70s and 80s. Here in the southwest, we still have some very warm temperatures as well, with the heat continuing in California. But it's a stationary front draped across the Great Basin and the Rockies, bringing in flash flooding and a lot of rainfall very quickly in the showers. We're going to be watching that through the day. That's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
What's better than one rainbow? Two of them, near one of our national parks. This image was captured near Yellowstone's southern entrance. What's better than a blue sky, fluffy clouds, and a ring of fiery fall foliage? Seeing it twice. This photo snapped at New York's Lake Desolation. Also in New York State, a vibrant, colorful sunset reflected in a blanket of clouds.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
And each day we showcase awesome content from our team of meteorologists. But now it's time to see a bit of great content that we get from our viewers through our Chime In platform. So let's travel to Southwest Virginia's Hidden Valley Lake, where these colors, oh, look at the fall colors on display here. Gorgeous. Now we're going to travel north, where the Catskills will not be outdone in their show of autumn color. And on to Montana, where the aspens are radiating brilliant gold at Red Rock Lakes National Wildlife Refuge. Hey, we would love to share your weather content on air. You can find us on your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. All you have to do is search NAT WS Desk or National Weather Desk. And we're going to be right back after this very short break. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Thanks for joining us. I'm meteorologist Veronica Johnson. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Make it a great Monday. And remember, keep an eye on the sky.